3Oul Sisters, and we're so glad you're joining us yet again for another episode. My name is Rowena Kajumba, and I must say today I'm particularly excited, and I hope everyone at home is excited. The women tell their stories. The women help other young women and men to see that this is something that we need to support and engage and help our young women also to close that gap, or at least come close to the gap.
Whenever there would be no school fees, because certainly they would chase us back home. Yes. When the term begins, they chase you back home for school fees. And when you reach there, then my brother's school fees would be found within about 2 days. But for me, it would take 2 weeks or a month before I get school fees. One time, I think somebody was murdered in a village there. Those days, it was extremely rare for somebody to die. But when people were gathering and discussing, and they said, that one will buy a pleader. I said, a pleader, who is a pleader? They said a pleader is somebody who pleads for other people. I said, then I want to be a pleader and plead for women and girls. Why are they treated like this? Now they came to withdraw me from senior to take me to a teacher training college. So they wanted the boy, because he's a boy, to go to senior secondary school. And because I'm a girl, I come back and do teacher training. And I said, why? I said, I am not going. So I asked my mother, do you know where the education office is? He said, I know where it is, but I can't speak English. I said, you know what? Let's go. Take me there, I will speak the English. We stood up and my mother stood up. Said, woman, what can I do for you? Asking my mother, I said, sir, I want fees. I want school fees. I started crying.
Good confidence.
And she said, okay, you come in. So the man said, okay, don't worry. You go back to school. We shall get back to you. So I told my mother, the man has said, you go home, me, I go back to school. So I went back to school.
She mentioned something very important, that if it wasn't for her and people like her to fight, to push, to go against what we used to call, what we would call the status quo, then many young girls might have lost opportunities in today's society. Now, of course, the struggle still continues, but we still have people like her to speak and talk about these things. Now, when you're listening out there and you're a man or a boy and a girl or a woman, it is meant to show you that we cannot start limiting people just because, you're a girl, you cannot do this. If they have potential in a sense and they can do it, why don't let these people do it?
I was the first woman girl, the first girl in that village, or at our village, or even in the county, I think, the county of Kashari, to go to university and a lawyer. By the way, in the whole of Ankore, among the Banyankore, I was the third woman to be a lawyer.
Wow.
We were 3 girls to study law. One was the late Ladyship Margaret Bechinga, who from Shema, who eventually married Chireju and became a judge. She died when she was a judge. And I'm so glad that her daughter, Olive Kazarwa, is now a judge. Then the other one was Koni Byamujisha. Koni Byamujisha was a sister to Honorable Kategaya. She married Byamujisha. She was also a judge by the time she died. So incidentally, both of them, Mbambe died of the cancer. So I was the third from Kashari. Kon was from Rwampara. So you can imagine I was a distinguished person at that time, setting the pace. And they say, I've not reached the level. I haven't reached the right level that was mine. Anyway, he never sold anything, you can imagine. The last month, I never gave it to him. So when I reached Makere, I bought some clothes, some few clothes here and there. Now there, when they gave us boom, I went to buy a trouser. They were not trousers, called bell bottom.
Bell bottoms, yes.
I went and bought my bell bottom, very nice blue trouser, and I came out to my roommate. I have bought my bell bottom.
Yes.
I was now real class.
Yes.
And I was in Mary Stuart Hall, boxer.
Yes.
Now, the next evening, before I put on my bell bottom, Amin announced that women are no longer allowed to put on trousers. They banned trousers, they banned putting on wigs. Then I think Amin's government was the most oppressive and suppressive. And therefore my dream to be a lawyer was not there anymore. It was sent in abeyance because Amin had taken over government and there was no parliament.
Yes.
So my dream went in abeyance. So when I
wow.
finished, I went to be employed with the DPP. I went as pupil state attorney, director of public prosecution. I spent, I think, 2 months, because when I reached there, mark you, my life, my dream was to fight against injustice.
Injustice, yes.
Only to reach there and find the injustices were the worst, because they would arrest people who have stolen chicken or who are brewing waraji. They come to court and they don't have people bail to get them on bail. They have no sureties. And yet those people who are rich and have committed huge crimes were given sureties, and the other smaller people who have stolen a bunch of matoke would be rotting in prison. I said I cannot be a party
to this.
Promote injustice. I can't. In the meantime, I found that there was in Nakawa a job for teaching, so I went to Nakawa. That MUBS University used to be called Uganda College of Commerce. And when I went there, I was teaching general principles of law to students who were studying international courses. One of them was ACCA, a certified accountant, and the other one was IS, the Institute of Secretaries and Administrators. It was called ICSA. So I was teaching
them.
I taught there for 5 years. Then in the meantime, Amin was overthrown. Then eventually, Obote came. When Obote came, there was Obote came, when Mzee came, Obote and Museveni and whatever, UNRF, they went into politics. I joined UPM. UPM was Museveni's party. I didn't want UPC because during the time of UPC, they had killed my brother. My cousin, Captain Lev Mugara, he disappeared. We've never seen him. And then UPC also originally had arrested Grace Vinjera. Grace Vinjera used to be a distinct lawyer. We all aspired in my Rutoma village. He was our role model. When they arrested 5 ministers, Magezi, Vinjera, Chiri, and so on, by Obote and put them in prison. So I didn't want to join UPC. It was bad. Everybody did not like it, but I had not seen it anyway because Amin had overthrown it. I didn't want to join DP either. I just want to go in something new. And Museveni was the one inspiring. He was like Chaguranya at that time. He was inspiring. Young people were running with him, and we ran with him, and he failed, and we didn't win. So we went to the bush. So I missed out. The whole idea of being in parliament now went. So this time I went to Institute of Chartered Bankers, the Chartered Institute of Bankers. I was there 5 years working as a banking officer in Bank of Uganda. And that's when, in 1986, that's where the NRM Bush people found me. So when they came with this woman question high up on the agenda. In other words, they were saying, women, where are you?
They were speaking your language.
I said, what? Imagine having this dream from 9 years through 17 years. Then you even marry, because I married, of course, I married when I was still at the university. So I ran. It was like when I went onto the public platform,
Yes.
it was like if you have been caging a dog and you are not opening for it. When you open door,
Yes.
the force with which it runs out, it
Yes.
is unstoppable. So for me, when I went onto the public scene to fight the battle for women, to plead for women, I was extremely unstoppable.
That is true.
Unstoppable. And for the first time, the woman questioned. The women were also human beings.
Yes.
People were talking about women, and women
That
were also in
conversation was
leadership.
happening, yes.
And women, in fact, I keep telling people that for me, however much I disagree
Yes.
with President Museveni, I can never fail to credit him for opening the way for the women,
Yeah.
for enabling me, bringing an environment for me to realize my childhood dream, my life's purpose.
Now, you mentioned
because
something.
if he hadn't, we wouldn't have managed. Because you know, I'm not saying that the struggle for gender equality and women's empowerment started with the NRM government.
No, but they pushed
it
that
started long ago. Even women like Joyce Mpanga, like Rhoda Karema, like Sarah Ntiro, and the others who died struggled with our men for independence. They struggled with them. But after independence, when politics went into confusion, things stopped there. But women used to fight and struggle, but the environment was not conducive for their struggle. But President Museveni introduced a very conducive environment for struggle, for justice and fairness.
So for a young girl at university who is very ambitious, has goals.
I'm not ambitious, I was visionary.
You are visionary, okay, yes, you are visionary. So at what point did you meet your now husband? At what point did you meet your husband?
Now, if I tell you my story of that kind of story, when I reached Makerere, there were, like I told you, I belonged, my mother's side had many, many people.
Yes.
So I have a number of uncles whom I'm even older than.
Yes.
And that time they were uncles. They were there, I found them in senior one, in year one, year two, and they were really protecting me. They told me, you know, you are not supposed to, don't, these boys, when they come running here, don't accept them, don't, they will use you and spoil you and dump you. So leave them. And one story I hadn't told you about that is now my private, what do we call it? Is it the personal life now?
Yes.
Besides the professional, whatever, the vision. When I was going to Weranyanj for the first time, my mother, we reached the swamp. There was a swamp there near the road. With heavy whatever traffic's falling there, it was very, very scary. And I was 13 years. And my mother told me, if you ever get pregnant, don't come home, throw yourself in this swamp.
Oh dear. 13
years.
Yes.
I looked at the swamp, I looked at this. Oh, I was so scared. Mark, you had not told me how I could get pregnant. I didn't even know. If you ever get pregnant, don't come home because your dad will kill you. Throw yourself into the swamp. Now, when I reached Weranyanj good enough, we studied Makin Introduction to Biology, and then I learned how people get pregnant. So when I found that it is a choice to get pregnant, then I resolved I'm not going to get pregnant. So whenever I would be going back for holidays, I look at the swamp. Oh, I remember. Then when I'm in the holidays and these boys, you know boys from Barara and Tare, they find you, go to fetch water. You are carrying a jerrycan of water and they are there conversing with you. We have passed through, like, you go to fetch water, to fetch firewood. You are there with firewood on the head and the boyfriend, the person wanting to be boyfriend is there. And me, whenever they would be talking, my mind would be at the swamp.
Yes.
whenever they come from Ntare, Mbarara, to come and visit us, and we take them around the campus, and they are making their points, for me, I would not be with them there. My mind would be at the swamp. So I have always said that the swamp prevented me from getting pregnant, getting involved in sexual matters when I was still young. The swamp, it was not any counseling like the parents told me what, but no. I feared that they will kill me, and I feared the swamp. And therefore, there's no way I could misbehave. So when I reached the university, in fact, one time when I was at HSC, then I had an uncle at the university. I came to visit him, and then his friend wanted to be my boyfriend. And we started like boyfriend. Then I came to visit him, but those days they were good, I think. During vacation, before going to the village, I would pass there and visit him. Then he wanted sex, and I said, no, I don't do that. Then the next time when I went to visit him, he said, don't come back here until you are interested in sex.
Can you imagine?
Yes, he was at Makere, and I didn't go back. Then I think there was another one also who now found me at the wedding of my cousin, and then started there. He was also at Makere, but that one had finished the university. So when I went to visit him, he also told me about sex. I said no, but they would not force you.
Yes,
they would not
just
force
had to choose between that or
I said no. Then when he was saying goodbye to me, he said, anyway, don't worry, I will manage you. I got angry. Said, this man thinks he would manage me. That was the end of the friendship. So eventually I reached Makerere, and my uncles tell me, don't. And they would ask me to get them girls. And I got them girls. My schoolmates, when we were in Kamuri, we would go with them. They are drinking. Mark me, I'm not drinking. I'm not drinking. Because my father told us when we were still young, and they were brewing alcohol. They said, don't ever drink alcohol. When you drink alcohol, you'll be a lion. Now one day, with my usual brother, when they were away, we went to find this pot of alcohol. I think it was a decant or something. And there was this straw. And we went and we were just sucking. Nothing was coming anyway. We were still young, like 5-6 years there. And then our father came. Our father arrived with his bicycle. And he said, and these people would dramatize. He said he came running. Told you not to drink alcohol. We jumped, then he came and said, did you swear anything? We said, no, we have not sworn. And then he said, thank God. What could I have done with 2 lions in the house? They are dramatizing it, and we think it would be true. It would be lions. This ignorance of young people was helping us. But now, you can't use such methods. Because internet, everything is there. WhatsApp, Twitter shows everything. But for us, we are so ignorant. We thought it would be a lion. And we never tried any drink alone again. So at Makerere, I could not even drink. Why? Because I don't know whether it still was the lion. But because I had not drunk, I could not drink. But these other women would go with my uncles, they would drink, befriend them. But my uncles were protecting me. Okay. Now when I reached year 2, they started asking me, one of them asked, do you have a boyfriend yet? I said, but you said I shouldn't get. He said, now you are in trouble. Because now if you don't get now, they are going to the senior one. You are year 2, then you are done. Year 1, they will take year 1. Year 2 now, you better start getting. So I say now the boyfriend come, I say, okay. Then they ask for goods. They used to call them goods now. When you make proposal for sex, they will say he wants goods. I said no. So my uncle asked me, do you get? I said, but when I see them, they ask for goods. And you know what my uncle told me? That's why peer pressure is silly. People need to reason. He said, you can give him a little.
Wow.
Now what was a little? I couldn't imagine a little. Can you go and have sex a little? No. I said, but what little can I give? I forgot about these things. Until one time when we were at a bachelor's party of my cousin's sister-in-law.
Yes.
Then this man, Matembe, was there. He was related to them also, and I'm on this side.
Yes.
I had come from Makerere. They took us for that function.
Party, yes.
And that lady, we were studying together at Nyanji. We went to the Kasti. So that's when Matembe saw me. You know, I love dancing. So I was dancing, and he said, actually, we both loved dancing. He was dancing. I first saw that the man was dancing. I asked my cousin, who is that one dancing?
Yes,
then he started telling, oh, this is a man. You know, those days they were making us, preparing boys for us. You know, you could not be free. Like,
yes, someone had to know.
So she was here, my cousin, telling me, oh, you know that man? That man is called Matembe. He's come back from Scotland. He's been studying. Then he was telling me, this other man is called Kahenano. And he's our...
you details.
Kumbe, she wants me. They were friends. He wants to fix me.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just there. I didn't. Then they say, this Matembe said, this woman is dancing nicely. And he tells me, later on he told me that he came to pick me to dance and I refused. Because for me, once you are dancing and I see that if you go, then you come again.
Yes.
My concern was not seeing you as a person, but the dancing.
The dancing,
So, so he came to pick me and I refused. So his friend, when they were taking us to Makerere, back to the university, then when I went to I think it was his friend to drop us at the university. He knew him. When I went to enter the vehicle, he said, no, I'm not taking you. You have not danced with Matembe. I said, who is Matembe? You have refused to dance. I said, who is Matembe? You mean you to take me, I have to dance? You show him to me, I will dance. So I came to the floor. I found he had even gone to the room to visit Simani to greet the elderly people. He went and pulled him. Come and dance. So we went to the floor. Of course, I danced like one who has been hired to dance. Dance, because I'm dancing in order to go back to university. When I finished, I said, now we go.
Now we go.
So this man accompanied me to the door, to the vehicle. And when I was I sat in the vehicle. He said, have you known who I am? I said, yes, I've known you. You are Kahenan. And Kahenano was his friend. They were all close. So he told me afterwards, I said, Kahenano has already taken this girl before me. No, I told him, but I said you should have known that I also didn't know him, because if I'm calling him, you are. So that was the beginning. We started there. And you know, I told him, me, this issue of sex, I don't want. He said, even me, I don't want. I think they had told him that this girl is so difficult. You have to find a way of, anyway, we started friendship and so on. So it is dance which brought us together. I always say, me, I can never give up dance, although now I dance for the Lord when I got born again. So we dated a very short time. It was like, because we met in July, in October 1 year, then we wedded next year in July. And so that was our life. We have had, he was working in Uganda breweries. I was still studying. I gave him a conditionality. I must finish my studying. I had to study, then went to LDC, then finished. We had our first born when I had not finished.
For LDC?
But the second born we had when I had not finished Makerere. I married when I was in year two. Beginning year 2. So finishing year 2, and we were going to third year. So we have had four sons, and we now have 4 daughters in love, but I have got so many. I've already told you all my nieces, my nephews. I paid school fees for them. I did all this.
I like how you said daughters in love, not in love. Yeah,
they are daughters in love. When we finished, and that is now my family life, and then my career, the journey of politics. I went into politics when Museveni came. I went from LC1, LC2, LC3. I was, by the way, the vice chairperson of Nakawa division. Before I went to LC5, Kampala district, I was by then the Secretary for Mass Mobilization and Education, and it is at that time when NRM extended its, they said let's now elect some people, and that's when they created the position for woman member of parliament. And I became the first woman member of parliament for Mbarara district. And of course, in my own village and county, I was the first. And by the way, eventually, one of my achievements is I'm the first Munyankore woman to be a minister. In the whole of Uganda, the Banyankore, I'm the first Munyankore woman to be a minister, and the first minister for ethics and integrity. Now, on my work on gender equality and women's empowerment, in 1998, I received an award, an international award, as one of 100 women world over who had by then, in 1998, for the previous 100 years, from 1898 to 1998. With those 100 years, they were choosing 100 women in the whole world who had made a great impact on the women of the world, who have acted as a role model without fear, with confidence, who have mentored women of the world. I am one of them. And I'm the only one Ugandan who did that. And they invited me to New York, and I held the Uganda flag high. But you know what is very interesting? This government of Uganda has never awarded me anything.
You can imagine.
These medals they talk about, nothing. But the different organizations in this country, I tell you, I have so many distinct awards. Even the international, Rotary International also gave me an award of Paul Harris Pin as a distinctive woman that has made a difference in women's lives.
And you definitely have.
So now, what can I do? What can I give to God in my life? Because not only did I do that, I became a minister for ethics and integrity after I had disagreed with President Museveni for not for refusing the term limit, and he sacked me. When I went back to Parliament, I was elected as one of the 5 members of Pan-African Parliament. We are the people who started Parliament, and I was the first chairperson of legal and parliamentary committee, legal rules privilege committee in Pan-African Parliament, and I led I chaired the first strategic plan for the Parliament of Africa. I was one of the 21-member commission in 1989-92 who drafted the constitution, the draft constitution of Uganda. We were 2 women only, me and Justice Mary Maitum, and there were 19 men. And of course I was elected to CA, so I was one of the Constituent Assembly delegate, and I was one of the, we were 20 on the draft, legal and drafting committee, which drafted the constitution. So for me, I had a dream, and by the grace of God,
it was met.
I realized that dream 100%.
Even more.
And God gave me additional. Gave me additional. I ended up spreading the women all over the world. I ended up doing the constitution, which is a fundamental law of the land, the mother of all laws.
That is true.
And I ended up going beyond being a minister, Pan-African Parliament. All those were extra by the grace of God. And on the side of the family, I'm one woman who has been able and blessed by God to balance the 2 roles well. Public life and private life. On the public life, I did it all. Although they chased me with they didn't chase me for corruption. They
At
chased
least,
me
yes.
for my integrity,
Yes.
but I had done it all.
Yes.
And the records are there.
Yeah.
And on family life, as I talk now, so many daughters in love, so many sons in love, so many grandchildren. And yet they say that gender equality and women's empowerment destroys marriages and families.
That's
a lie. That's a lie. If there is anybody in this country whose family would have broken and rotten completely because of the struggle for gender equality and women's empowerment, then it would be me.
Because men have this thing that if a woman is vocal, then she's destroying everything. A woman should be silent. I think deep down that's what they still have.
Well, we were dealing with cultures.
Yes.
We are dealing with, you know, the things which I realized out there, there are 5 things that constrain women from being able to realize their full potential and utilize their talents. Remember, God gave us all talents.
That is true.
All of us to utilize, each according to ability. But what constrains women and denies them the right to utilize their talents and potential is 1, cultural and customary practices. You can see how my father was saying, a girl can't study law. A girl get out and be a teacher so that the boy studies. Customary and cultural practices. Number 2, religious misinterpretation and application. Number 3 is discriminatory law. Number 4 is poverty. Number 5 is what? Ignorance. Ignorance. Ignorance, lack of formal education, and the major ignorance about women's potential and important role in society. If both men and women were to know the important role and the value of a woman in society and in a nation, they would not discriminate against them. But because they don't know,
so
it is the major thing actually. That's why I say that if you educate a woman and mobilize women and they come to know, and both women and men come to know the role and importance of a woman in society, then women would be set free. Because they would be able to cut these other chains that tie them in bondage. For me, I thank God, by the grace of God, I managed to get this, I cut the chains, and I work in balance. And by the way, I'm an author. I have written 4 books. The first book, which is a very important book for women and men to read, I wrote it as an answer from God. Because I was questioning God and asking God, if you didn't want to create women, why did you create us?
Exactly.
He answered me this question and said, the way society sees you is not how I see you. You are very great special creation in my sight and in my heart. And I wrote a book. It is entitled Woman in the Eyes of God, Reclaiming a Lost Identity. My appeal is that every woman buys that book, because whoever has bought it and read it, you can never be the same. It just picks you and sets you off to the right journey. The other book was Hon.Miria Matembe, Gender, Politics and Constitution Making in Uganda. That one is my first autobiography. The next book is Political Evangelism, the joy, the beauty of conversing with God. I wrote that after I had been born again, because down the road, as I struggled with the women's rights, I had an encounter with my God, with Jesus Christ, and he said, what does it gain you when you struggle and get physical freedom of these women when their souls will be lost?
That is true.
And so I received him as my personal savior, and I embarked now on this journey of ensuring that I want to deliver you both physically and spiritually. I want to deliver women physically and spiritually. So political evangelism is sharing my personal journey with Jesus Christ and what it means And I wanted, and that title was given to me by God himself,
Yes.
because I wanted the politicians to
look,
read and see. Because they don't know that there is life after politics.
That is true.
I mean, I've been out of politics for 18 years now.
But you know,
And you call them, those who are in my politics, who are not getting money, we are just getting peanuts to be able to do our work.
push things and work,
But
yes.
for them now, they buy them everything, vehicles, whatever,
Everything.
give
Fuel
them
the
50,
vehicles.
50 millions a month, but you call them here. Will they tell you a story like I'm telling you?
No.
They are not blessed and graced by God, who gives us
Indeed,
assignments to do.
indeed, yes.
Because now what drives people into politics is not the passion to serve others.
It's to earn.
It is self. It's about self-centeredness.
Wow,
And I want to tell the people listening to me that, as Maxwell said, John Maxwell, a leader's courage
Yes.
to continue pursuing her goal does not depend on her position, but it depends on her passion.
Yes.
So a leader remains a leader, whether you are in a position or you are not. I mean, I've not been leading anything. In fact, I have no office. My office is my altar. I have my altar at home where I go to pray, where I read my books. That is the office. And God, the second thing God promised me was that I will not run out of supply.
That is true.
I am telling you, I want to tell people listening to me. Many times I say, I wish I could really push my God into people's hearts, because I have seen my God favoring me, doing me miracles. All these people who left, they become RDCs, they become ambassadors. All those women, they are there busy working, earning their money, whatever they do. But I am seated at home, impacting on God's people, and he takes care of me. I have not lacked. I have not failed to get a dress. I have not failed to drive a vehicle. I have not failed to put fuel there. I have not, I'm telling you, this God whom we serve. So what do I tell young people listening to me, the young women? Identify your purpose, your dream, which I call God's purpose for your life. You know, even the scripture in Psalms 25, I think it is verse 12 or something, it says, who then is the man? We can put woman or person. Who then is the person who fears the Lord, that he may instruct him in the way chosen for him? Each of us have a way chosen for us. There is even a scripture, I think Corinthians, which says that we are God's workmanship, created to do the works, created to do the works, good works prepared for us by God in advance.
Yes. So, Kekwan, what do you live by as a person, as an individual? What drives you every day?
What drives me is that passion to deliver somebody from injustice. To deliver. Do you know I'm still in office, but in fact they should call me Minister for Gender. Because every single day there is a woman who have been chased out of the home. Single day woman who has been denied her children. A single home whose property has been taken. A woman, a mother, like right now, yesterday I had a woman from Entebbe. Her mother is now right in prison, 70 years, because the stepdaughters have now connived with police and RDC, and they have taken away her land. But then I was coming here, I said, well, let me first finish this program. I'll go and deal with that. Let me tell you, my motto is, may the joy of serving others be truly rewarding. And this joy of serving others has been rewarding to me. And for me, every single day, if I can make a difference in one woman's life, that's it. Many people accuse me of being discriminatory and addressing women only. But I must explain to these people listening to me, my battle for equality, justice, and fairness is run through one strategy or through one path, and that is through a woman.
Yes.
Why? That woman I fight for may be a sister to a man. That woman may be a wife to a man. That woman may be a daughter to a man. That woman may be a mother to a man. That woman may be a wife to a man. And therefore, by liberating and setting free and securing justice and fairness for this woman, I'm doing it.
For the man.
For the boys who are sons, for the boys who are brothers, for the boys who are... So people don't see.
Yes.
You can go to Mbarara through Katonga. But now Katonga is broken.
Yes.
So don't they go to Mbarara through Zimbabwe? So you choose a journey, you choose one road through which you go to realize your objective. For me, my bigger fight is to fight for justice, fairness, equality, and non-discrimination. And let me tell you, justice and righteousness are the foundation of God's throne. And so when I'm fighting for justice and fairness and righteousness for people to behave rightly, I'm in God's throne.
Indeed.
So God has no alternative but to pick me and walk with me.
Yes.
And that's why I'm who I am. Many people say, this woman doesn't fear. Why should I fear? Why should I fear?
Why?
The Bible says
Yes.
that I should not fear what others fear.
Indeed.
And why should I fear if the one in me, my God, is greater than the one in the world? Why should I fear? Those who don't know their God
are the ones who are struggling.
Are the ones struggling. And it is God who teaches how to make wealth. It is God who gives us joy. It is God who gives us abundance. So my appeal to all of you people listening to me, put God first. He will show you your purpose in life. And He will give you the strategies and facilitate you to run with that purpose.
You've had so many people say, I've attended some graduations. My girl here wants to be Miria Matembe. You know?
Oh,
she wants
there
to
are
be,
so many.
and it is very encouraging. I must
Some
say,
have
thank
not
you.
seen me. I have impacted on them by just seeing me on TV.
Yes.
I have impacted on them by listening to their parents.
Yes.
You don't know. Do you know what makes me the happiest?
Yes.
Makes my day happiest when like I'm walking somewhere and I meet somebody and she says, you know what? If it was not for you, I wouldn't be. Says, you know, when you came to talk to us in Bunyaruguru, when I was in P3,
Exact.
that's when I first knew that I'm also a human being as a girl. I met some woman along the road and he was shouting after me. And when she came and said, I'm sorry to disturb you, she was now on her PhD. She told me, you know what? I had never seen you again since that time.
Wow.
But when you came to Nyaruguru Primary there and you talked to us, that is the first time I knew that a woman, I, as a girl, I was also a human being.
Indeed.
And then there is one whom I met, they say, when you came to Chibura, when I was in here too, when this Saro Pendi surprised me, I didn't know that she knew me.
Yes.
But when eventually we met at Parliament, I said, woman, I love you, you are great. She said, no, wait a minute, it is you. I said, but sir, I've never. He said, when you came to Tororo Girls School, I was in senior too. So what more do I want?
Yes.
Money?
But no.
Wealth? No. What? These people who have wealth, when they die, their wealth is shared and looted, they go. But me, when I die, Miria Matembes will continue to multiply.
Where I come from, I remember my grandfather, may so rest in peace, used to ask about what we call ekirali. What will you leave behind when you're gone? What will be your legacy when you're gone? And I must say, to have people, I personally am one of those people you've always inspired, and for us to talk about issues like this, there's nothing wrong, okay? Even for you men to talk about issues concerning women, there's nothing wrong, because it is your daughters, it is your sisters, it is your mothers, it is your friends, it is your wife, and this conversation means it involves you. Thank you so much for making time for us. Honorable Dr. Miria Matembe.
The child of God.
The child of
That
God.
is the best. Let me tell you
Yes.
as I finish.
Yes.
I want to tell people listening to me. There are certain things which you will die with. Yes. The rest, now they call me former minister, former what, former member of parliament, former commissioner. They are all former.
Yes.
But the current, I'm a child of God. Yes. I am a mother. Yes. I am a wife. Yes. I'm a grandmother.
And I must say, those are things we need to pick. I hope you've learned, because I've learned a lot. Make them
special priority.
I have learned a lot, and people always ask the question, how to balance. She said that comes directly from you. You don't need to be distracted because, oh, I'll do better like this. You can always be able to put both your houses in order, depending on what you want to choose, and take a direction in life. Now, I must believe someone out there is inspired, just as I've been inspired again and again, over and over again. She keeps inspiring us. But thank you for
perhaps one thing I am sorry,
yes.
which I didn't put,
yes.
is that I must thank my husband
yes.
for being who he is. Yeah. And I want to believe that when God has a purpose for you, he brings into your life a spouse who will be able to support you in doing your purpose. I want to thank him, because I even tell him the only good thing he did that comes out distinctively.
Yes.
Matembe does not interfere with my freedom. No. I get up, I go here, I go here.
He lets you.
So, and I want to be honest and speak the truth. Yes. If he had interfered with my freedom to do what I want to do, which I call God's purpose for my life, we would have divorced long ago. Long ago. I'm being honest. Yes. Yes. So my appeal to men, please, men out there, leave your wives to do what they want to do. And support them in what they are doing. Strengthen them instead of curtailing them and preventing them to use the gifts that God gave them. After all, it is for the good of the family.
And when you support each other, then you're going to meet halfway at the end of the day.
Sure.
A woman cannot be able to do things if the husband doesn't support. The husband won't be able to do things if the woman is not supporting. Let's remember that we are all human beings. It's all beyond the what sex you are. It's beyond all of those things. At the end of the day, when you come together as a team, please be a team. You just can't be a team. You just can't love your mother and then discriminate your wife. Then you can't be selective on which women to support. But thank you so much for making time with us. Of course, we've been also very honored to have our very own, and I must say it saddens me when we pointed that she didn't. In this country, you've led the flag, you've pushed, and of course, you've brought so many people on board. Probably others also brought you on board, but you've never given up on this conversation. I do hope, I know the people out there watching, she deserves for this country to know, aside from people doing their private things and acknowledging her, I think as a country, we need to acknowledge the work she has put in. We need to acknowledge that she's still putting in efforts. We need to acknowledge that she has impacted so many young girls and women. So at the end of the day, when we don't recognize such efforts, I don't know. But thank you so much for watching. My name is Rowena Kajumba, from me and the entire team here on Super Soul Sisters. And of course, I must say our Super Soul Sister today is indeed the queen of all Super Soul Sisters. She has pushed this agenda. She has risen the flag high. If women had a flag, I don't know, she would put it everywhere. So she has really taken her time, and also to make time for us. Thank you. You're very busy. We do wish you a lovely, lovely evening.